I've been here ever since until 1969 to 1975.
Yes.
I was other places.
Other places, whoa.
Undisclosed,
Maybe we'll,
undisclosed locations.
yeah, maybe we'll get to that, maybe we won't. I don't know. Sounds like it's something you want to just glide right past.
And then I found myself landing in an aeroplane
Yes.
at Kennedy Airport and
New York.
getting on a bus
Uh-huh.
to come back to Scranton. Now, when I left on a train. When I came back, found that the trains didn't come up here anymore, unless it was a freight train.
Sure, yeah.
So I came up back.
And I'm afraid you're not.
I was not.
Yeah.
I was afraid to come back.
Yeah.
But I returned to Scranton, and then I got a job on the railroad again, another job on the railroad,
And in your current position, which is of great interest to everyone.
drastically different.
Yes.
But it's right next to it's as close as I could get to the railroad. After they tore the tracks out, there was a river next to the railroad.
Right.
So I figured out a way to get a job along the river.
Yes.
And in the river, and sometimes on the river.
Yes.
In
And that job is?
in a boat.
Yes.
That job is I'm executive director of the Lackawanna River Conservation Association.
Conservation side. Let's talk about the environment, right? All on our yeah. Anybody have any questions about the environment? I don't know. Like, let's all chime in here. We're all hanging out. You know.
How bad is the state of affairs with the Lackawanna region?
Yeah.
Well, we've got the river's recovering. We had 150 plus years of coal mining. And coal mining is pretty tough on rivers because you dig holes in the ground and then you dig tunnels underground, and some of the tunnels go under the river.
Right.
And then the roof of the tunnel will get a crack and it'll go up into the bed of the river, and then the river leaks into the tunnel.
Right.
So real early on, they noticed that they were mining coal, and yo, Bob, are your feet wet? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, my feet are wet. So well, let's get Charlie the mule and get it back there, Jack. Charlie the mule. Charlie the mule.
He gets it. Yeah. Yeah.
I get to go off on stuff like that now. Okay.
I don't know if I get it, but he'll tell us later.
It's an inside joke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, and we'll hook up.
I usually get inside jokes.
Yeah.
You do. I'm the one.
That was a joke. Yeah. Okay.
You got the one at the bar.
Oh yeah.
You're not a local.
We hooked the mule up to a windlass, and the windlass, the mule went around and it pumped the water out. And then there was more water, and the mule couldn't keep up with it, so we had to retire him, and we got ourselves a steam engine.
Right.
And it was working real good. And then a couple of guys, one guy's name was Edison, and this other guy's name was Westinghouse. They figured out how to make electric motors and electricity.
Right.
And they built these big motors, and somebody said, "Hey, them motors would be pretty good for running streetcars. Let's run some streetcars, and
We're getting to it. Yeah,
we'll be
yeah,
the
yeah.
first streetcar in the country, in the world, really, the whole world." Scranton had the first electric streetcar commuting suburb, Green Ridge, the area out there, and in the whole world. So, but they also said, "Hey, those motors will be pretty good to pump the water out of the mines."
Right.
So they started doing that. But then, flash forward to 1957, and the cost of electricity exceeded the cost you could get per ton of coal. So once you had that economic intersection, the mafia got really interested in the whole situation and decided to come in and corrupt it all. And we've been corrupt ever since.
Oh. Happy to be here. So what's going on now with the river? Like,
Well, the rivers come back.
problems?
Since we generally stop dumping stuff in the river,
Right.
generally.
Yeah.
And underneath us is like the subways under Manhattan on steroids, about 1,200 feet deep and
Oh, wow.
75 miles long, and it's filled with water, which is really good so it doesn't catch on fire.
Yeah, oh,
It
yeah,
won't
yeah.
catch on fire. Unlike Centralia, all that stuff under, you've heard of Centralia?
I've heard of it, yeah,
Everybody's
yeah.
heard. Who hasn't heard of Centralia?
The town is on.
It's
We
on
have
fire
heard of
'cause it's at the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
and the coal is up above where it's flooded, so it just keeps on burning and burning. But here it's all flooded.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, we'd be like Centralia, and we're not, so
Yes.
it's pretty cool.
Oh.
So, but that water, it's like about the size of one of the Finger Lakes in New York State, underneath
Yeah,
our
yeah.
valley here. So
Yeah.
it's maybe about a couple 100 billion gallons of water.
Ah.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
water.
Sounds like a
And
recipe for
it
us.
flows out into the river down in Old Forge.
Yeah, that's not good. Good for them.
Yeah.
It's fine for us.
It's
Okay.
they use it to color the pizza, the sauce for the pizza,
Ah.
and
But another local inside.
yeah, it actually has 7,000 pounds of iron oxide in
Right.
the water, and it's dissolved molecularly. And when it comes into the river, it has a chemical interaction with the oxygen in the river water, and the iron and oxygen get together and they party. They flocculate.
We've done that. Yeah. Yeah.
They flocculate out of solution,
Right.
and they float to the bottom of the river, and they cover the river with this orange slime.
Wow.
Iron oxide, basically rust. And we're trying to figure out how to fix that
Get
right
it
now.
out of there,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the rest of the river, some of the mine water comes in, it doesn't have all the iron, it has cold water. It chills the river out, and we have trout
We've
as
chilled
long
out.
as you
Yeah.
like. So if you like trout fishing, this is the river for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah, so Bernie, you must have some stories after, how long has it been, 30 odd years now? You've been working with the LRCA. So, ever been arrested doing it?
Oh yeah, this is. I think you have a good.
Oh, that was
story.
recent. Yeah,
Yes.
actually several times.
Yes, remember
Several
you
times.
and your
I think these guys
one
got numbers
younger
got them.
companion.
We
Flip that
did,
over.
but we were actually we were at work, and we were along one of the railroads that doesn't have any track on it anymore. These railroads, we found that they were really neat things because they ran along the river, and once they removed the track, they were putting junk cars and turning them into dumping grounds. But when we came along, we said, hey, maybe there could be something better we could do with them. So let's get the junk cars out of there. Let's where the tracks used to be, let's make a trail.
Yeah.
So we have all these really neat
This all sounds.
rails.
This all
rails
sounds
to-
legal. so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, it's legal.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
legal.
Yeah.
Actually legal.
Right.
But you're not supposed to ride unauthorized motor vehicles on the trail. Now, we do have an authorized motor vehicle, which we weren't using that day. We were using my personal vehicle because it was it was a situation of
Got a better
it was an emergent situation of
Bernie, we were going to get pastries over at my mother's delicacies.
oh, was it?
Okay,
It was
yeah.
a bakery. It was a bakery run.
By the
And
way, we both spent about $14 each. over
I knew
at
we'd
that
get there.
stop.
Yeah. All right.
but we also had to look for these trees that had fallen down on the trail and a couple other things, and do some reconnaissance for designing some work sessions for volunteers to come in and do some maintenance. So we decided to, after we got the pastries, we'd drive down the trail, take a pastry break,
Yeah.
and figure out what we're going to do for the volunteer
All still.
projects next
All
week.
still legal.
But we were in our
Right. Oh, yeah.
apparently unauthorized looking
Yes.
vehicle.
Right.
Well, some of the trail users are very adamant about not having any unauthorized vehicles.
Oh, you
They called the comp
You were
center.
narked down.
They
Yeah.
said
That's
there
happened
were
to us.
two very suspicious characters.
Yeah.
You look suspicious.
Eating donuts. Yeah.
They only
That's what got the cops involved.
That's right. Yes, and two of Scranton's finest came out, and they were very adroit, and one of them came in back of us, and the other came in front of us and blocked us in, so we couldn't go any further. And they had their red lights on, which
Right.
made them an attractive nuisance.
Yeah.
Fortunately, one of them was very serious about being a police officer.
Oh yeah.
And he knew us, and he knew that once we told him, oh, hey, yeah, Jim, we're here doing work. Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Well, next time you're down here, you got to call the comp center and tell them you're coming in an unauthorized vehicle.
Right,
So
right.
when somebody calls, they'll know, oh, okay, well, so. But unfortunately, he was going to save the taxpayers money and get those 2 police officers from responding to something that they really didn't need to respond to. And they would have been back on the street ready to respond to a real emergency.
Right.
But his associate in the other vehicle was by the book.
Yes.
Got to see their licenses, got to run them through the system, make sure there's no outstanding warrants, and no, there were no outstanding warrants. Fortunately, for the Patriot Act, there would have been one. I was in violation of several sections of the Patriot Act a few years ago. It took me 23 years to learn that I was in violation of the Patriot Act. But when I was informed,
Bummer.
I talked to the good people up
So
in...
hold on, wait a minute. So you guys weren't arrested?
No, we
Okay.
weren't. No,
Oh, okay.
we were. He did run everything,
Oh,
and
okay.
we got nice computerized reports. Right? They have them right in their police card. They print the stuff out for you, and we got a receipt.
Well, technology is interesting.
Yeah.
They did go old fashioned and called the office to vouch for us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
they did. Yeah, they
Question
did.
here.
Yeah. The more adroit police
Question
officers.
here in the front.
Oh yes.
Did the police have 8x10 glossy color photographs with pictures of circles and arrows?
No, they didn't. They didn't go that far. Fortunately, and probably because they knew that the city is still in distressed economic status, and they didn't want to. Even the more serious officer who didn't have a sense of humor realized that. So, but had it been,
Well, you're here.
yeah, had it been another time, there would have been a notice that I was not allowed to operate a motor vehicle. Well, only in the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That sounds like a 20-year-long story.
It
We don't have
was,
time
yeah.
for.
Yeah,
we're-
but
get
I'm
out.
now able to drive a motor vehicle in the state
Yeah,
of Vermont. So I'm the other Bernie
Now you're
from,
updated,
from
yeah.
Vermont.
All right,
Yeah.
let's
Guys,
yeah, thank
it's been a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah,
All right.
You might ask a question to somebody else pretty soon. Let's
Okay.
it's ticket time. Everybody, your tickets out. Well, we're gonna draw the ticket and then find out. You know what I mean?